Okay, well that is the new stuff that IDW is doing with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So hopefully we'll see more of those archival collections, and they'll keep going with the regular series and the one-shots that they're doing. But that's not enough for me. In the tradition of comic book fans, I want more, and I'm not satisfied. When I began to read comic books, my very, very, very first comic book was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures #3. And Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures was a comic book series published by Archie Comics. And it was put out during the time of the first of the cartoon series, which was probably the first really successful, kind of global, success for the Turtles. So, they had been these kind of darker, we didn't mention, but the original comics are a lot more darker and more violent than the cartoon obviously was. So they had these original comic books. They did this children's cartoon based on these comic books, and then they in turn had Archie Comics do a color series based on the cartoon. So the characters and the tone of the Archie comic books, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures, would match the children's cartoon. And that was the first comic book I ever read, and I really loved it. And the first issues, they started with a 3-issue miniseries adapting the original episodes, and then they launched into a regular series. The first 4 issues, I think, of the regular Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures series adapted scripts from the TV show. But after that point, the creators of the Adventures comic book began to tell their own original stories. And as that series, TMNT Adventures, went along, it developed its own cast of characters who only appeared in those comics, its own mythology, its own backstory. The characters went down all kinds of cool paths that you didn't see reflected in the cartoon or the original comic books. It really became its own thing, and it was really a wonderful series of comic books. So I am imploring IDW, Nickelodeon, whoever has the rights and the means to reprint Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures to do so. Because it's a great comic book series. You don't need to be familiar with the animated series it was originally based on, because it became its own thing. So I just would think it would be wonderful if IDW could do some kind of a complete reprinting for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures. I think people would be really surprised by how great they are. And it had its own spin-offs, like the Mighty Mutanimals, which is a team book about a group of other mutant animal characters. So it's just a great wealth of material that I think deserves to see the light of day again. A few years ago in 2009, I think, for the 25th anniversary of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Archie Comics themselves actually put out a single volume, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Heroes in a Half Shell Volume 1, collecting that original 3-issue miniseries, which adapted early episodes of the cartoon show. So they collected that, which is great, and then they never did anything more with it, either because of low sales or because of the IDW deal, which happened shortly thereafter. I don't know. But I really think that this series needs to be brought to light again, and I think modern audiences would love it. So I think, IDW should definitely publish the complete Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures, and I'm sure they would do as great a job with that as they have with all the other Turtles material.
Yeah, and a lot of the action figures, I think, are based on characters that just appeared in here, like Ray Fillet, I know, appeared in there. I actually picked that comic up from a library, and I read that there for the first. I think that was the only issue I ever read, but I remember really liking it.
They had their own cast of characters, and so
Wingnut and Screwloose.
Yeah, like some characters were from the original comics or the cartoon, but then they also, there's just a lot of stuff that only happened in those Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures comics. So they were very well done, very well drawn. It ran for quite a while. I think like 70 issues or something like that. So yeah, so that needs to happen.
All right.
So there you go. That's my little public appeal.
All right.
Okay. Well,
thank you for tuning in for this episode of the Comics More podcast. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we did.
It was a fun one.
Yeah. And the next episode we're going to do is on Pogo, Walt
Mhm.
Kelly's Pogo, and then it's going to be a kind of a year-end roundup episode. So just 2 more episodes for the rest of the year. But we'll see you next time.